G'day guys, and welcome into our Strength and Power workshop. So basically today we're going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff that's going to help you in your chosen sport, no matter what it is. So thanks for taking the time to tune in. Really simply to start with, we're going to start with a couple of questions just to get you thinking about why and what you want to achieve, out of your sport, no matter what it is. So first question I've got for you is what do you want to actually achieve out of your sport, okay? So what we're going to do here is literally I want you to pause the camera or pause your video, for at least 30 seconds while you have a think about it. So the question again is what do you want to achieve out of your sport? And we're going to do this right at the start because I want to just get you thinking about why it is that you're actually watching this video and taking the time. So hit pause now and give it 30 seconds or so. Once you're ready to rock and roll, then we'll continue. Okay, so hopefully now you've got a kind of a clear understanding of why you're doing what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve in your chosen sport, whether that be to get a PB and that might be a certain time, or that might be to make a certain rep team. Whatever the case is, as long as we're nice and clear on that now, we're going to continue with our next question, okay? And this one's going to be a little bit trickier. So our next question is, why haven't you been able to achieve it yet? Okay, so I want you to really have a think about that, because it's not just as simple as saying because the trials haven't been yet, because why didn't you do it last year, or why haven't you been able to get to that level right now. So that's the kind of level I want you to think about it. So what is holding you back, in other words? Okay, so have a think about that, at least 30 seconds, have a good think, and then we'll cut back in. Alrighty guys, so hopefully now the idea behind that question was just really highlighting the one thing that's holding you back. So whether that be for some people, it might just be not being clear enough on what you actually do want, which hopefully helped with the first question, because without that clear picture of where we're actually heading, it's really difficult to figure out what we need to do to get there. Okay? Once we've got a clear picture of what we want, we can figure out the steps we need to take in order to get there, and a bit of a process behind it, which makes life a lot easier. Okay? For you, it might be a self-limiting belief, I'm not good enough, or I'm not big enough, or strong enough, or fast enough, that kind of stuff. It might just be a lack of commitment and a lack of hard work, or a lack of consistency in your training. It might be an injury, so for you that would be figuring out how not to get injured anymore, or to prevent that particular injury from happening. So the idea behind that last question, you're clear on what's holding you back so we can get rid of it, okay? And no more excuses, and we can basically get above the line and then start to achieve some of our goals, okay? Cool. So we're actually going to move on now to the next part of our little workshop, which is all about basically why speed and power are so important to any particular sport, okay? So we've got a few guys here in the gym today who are going to help us with this one. So I'm going to pass over to you guys. What do you think is, why is speed and power so important in the sports that you play? Callum, what's one?
Well, you need speed and power.
Yeah.
You're jumping.
Jumping, yeah, awesome. Okay. Cool. Aaron, have you got any, or Pete?
Strength to be able to break a tackle.
Yeah, breaking tackles, cool. So we're talking about footy here. Awesome. What else have we got?
Speed to get away from players.
Yeah, so
so you avoid being tackled.
yeah. Avoid opposition.
Acceleration.
Cool. Yeah. Fantastic. What else? What else do we do?
Catching up to your opponents.
Yeah, cool. So fend. Cool. What about kicking? So being more powerful through our legs and enable us to kick further. Yeah. So you see Trent McKenzie from the Gold Coast is kicking bombs from 60 to 70 every week.
Yeah.
If he wasn't powerful through his hips, no way he'd be able to do that. Okay. Kicking. That looks good, doesn't it, when you kick go from the outside?
Strength through the lower body to be able to be agility.
Yeah, sure, agility. So all agility is essentially is power. So it's being able to stop yourself and start yourself again really quickly and change direction. Okay. So without being really powerful, you're not going to be able to do that. So the most agile people are also generally the quickest off the mark. Have you ever noticed that? People that can kind of nip around, they're also really fast. Yeah. Slow people normally can't change direction very fast. Okay. Because all you're doing is stopping and starting again. Have we got anything else? Agility, kicking, defense. jumping, spoiling in AFL, yeah. Even handballing, you know, we're talking about power in the upper body there, but being able to produce a lot of power in a short space of time to handball the ball a long way, okay? So that's specific to AFL. We've got other sports, you know, we're talking about athletics and things like that, where essentially if you're doing a sprint, your whole, you know, everything relies on your speed, because that's all it is, you know, is getting there as fast as you can, okay? If we're talking about high jump, things like that, we're talking about speed and being able to jump nice and high, okay? Cool. Now we're going to go into this word power, okay? We'll go up here, okay, if you want to follow. So what is power? Who can help me?
Strength.
Yeah, strength is one component. Now I'll give you a hint, there's two components to power. Strength and speed, okay? So when we combine strength and speed, we get power. Does that make sense? So you can be awfully quick, but not very strong, and not be a super powerful human being, okay? So what I mean by that is you can be really lightweight and be able to run really fast, but not necessarily be powerful. So can every fast person kick a ball a long way?
No.
No, because they're not super powerful through the legs. They might be really fast because they're light. They don't need to generate, or they don't need much strength to be able to generate the speed. But if you put a weight on their back, or if you try and tackle them, they're not going to be able to break it. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we're talking about power, we're trying to increase our strength, and we're also trying to increase our speed. Okay, so essentially it's being able to move a really heavy load quickly. Okay, so if you imagine doing a squat, powerful means you'll be able to move a heavy squat really fast. Okay, or if you're talking about running, you might be a big, strong guy or a heavy person, but still be able to move really quickly off the mark. Or you might have someone holding on to you, for example, in a tackle in a game, but you still being able to accelerate with that extra load. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So really important that we're clear on what we're actually dealing with in terms of power, which is the most important thing that we're going to try and talk about today and work on. Okay, cool. Now, what we're going to basically do now that we've kind of highlighted why speed and power are so critical to all sports is go through a few little ways that we can increase your speed without actually doing any training. Okay, we'll get to the training bits later, but we just want to give you a few little take-home bits that you can incorporate straight away that are going to help you move quicker. Okay guys, what we're going to do now is just run through a few little stretching techniques that you can implement into your daily routine. That'll take you 5 or 10 minutes a day, which are going to help make you quicker. Okay. Now, when we're talking about improving running speed, we're talking about two things. We're talking about stride length and stride frequency. Okay. So by improving your flexibility around your hips, you're going to automatically improve your stride length, which is automatically going to make you quicker. Not only that, but regular stretching is going to help keep you injury free, which is going to mean your training can be more consistent, and with more consistent training comes more consistent results. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now I'm just going to run through a few things. This thing here is awesome as a stretching strap basically, but if you don't have one of these at home, you can get a bit inventive, maybe a piece of rope or like a tie that you can do a few knots in or something like that. Okay, so we're going to start down here on the ground with a hip flexor and quad stretch. Alright, so we're putting the loop basically around our foot. We're getting in a hip flexor stretch position, keeping our chest up and our eyes up, and then pushing our hips forward at the same time as lifting that foot. Now this is going to be stretching our quads and all through our hips. Okay, next one we're going to do is a hamstring stretch. Now with this one we're going to have a slight bend in the knee, and that's going to make sure that we're stretching the belly of our muscle as opposed to the sciatic nerve in the back of the knee. And we're just going to pull back on that until we can really feel that stretch. Okay? So we're going to hold that for about 15 to 20 seconds before we just relax and go again. Now with both of those stretches, we want to do that 2 or 3 times on each side every single day. Alright? So pretty simple stuff there. Alright, what we're going to do next, actually while we're on the ground we've got one more. We're going to be doing a glute stretch. Now the glutes get really tight generally from a lot of running, and if they're tight, they're going to slow you down. So we're pulling our knee across to the opposite shoulder and pulling our ankle around even further. So you can see that a bit better. So knee to the opposite shoulder and foot around further, and we feel that stretch right in here. Okay? Cool. Alright, now the next thing that we're going to use is called a foam roller. So these things are great for self-massage, okay? And if you're using one of these, it's going to help keep you injury-free and also help loosen up your muscles. Three main ones we're going to focus on. The first one is called our ITB, which is the band of muscle down the side of our leg, which we're going to pop out like that, and we're just moving forward and back. And for most people, that'll be pretty sore, okay? We're going to just roll on that, and when you find a sore spot, you just want to spend a little bit of time on it. Number two will be a hamstring roll, which is the back of our thigh, again just forward and back, and if that's tight, we really want to focus quite a bit on that one. Number three, we're onto our front, and we're going to roll out our hip flexors. Now hip flexors are super important for basically driving our legs forward, and if we can't drive our leg forward powerfully, two things are going to happen. Our stride's going to be shorter, and it's also going to be slower, okay, or our frequency will be down, so we're going to become slower as a result. So, on the front of the hip here, and we're just rolling forward and back, over the hip flexors there, which is going to keep them loose and keep them ready to go. So just incorporating those few things will take you about 5 to 10 minutes a day. You can get one of these from the sports shop, or you can actually get them from us as well. You can get one of those straps from a sports shop, or you can get inventive and make one yourself. So start incorporating those and start seeing the results straight away. Cool. Alrighty team, what we're going to do now is run through two really simple tests that you can do at home to test how good your power is at this point in time. One of them's going to be a vertical leap, one of them's going to be a broad jump. So a vertical leap is really important in a lot of sports where we've got to jump up high, catching balls, or serving in tennis, high jump, etc. Okay, what we're going to do is stand next to a wall, a piece of chalk, and reach up as high as we can and put a mark on the wall. Okay? From there, what we're going to do is jump as high as we can and sticking our mark on the wall again at its highest point. Okay? Really simple. We're going to do that 2 or 3 times until we're happy we've got our best score. Then we're going to get up there with the tape measure and measure the difference, and that's our vertical jump test. Okay? Pretty simple. Jump in and do that. Make sure you warm up first. And now we're going to move over to our next test.